just be a part of the team and put my all into it. I think that's one of the biggest things. That's pretty much just what it's been my whole life, whether I was playing up with a upper age group, anything. They have two completely different coaching styles. When I first came in, he was one of the first people to, take me under his wing, him and Jeremy Bernard. And like he took his hat off and he looked at me and I smiled.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? How's it going, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing, DJ?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Yeah. So I'm glad to finally speak to you today, man. Gonna be talking about your freshman season. Gonna be talking about your career. You're unique. Obviously, you playing as a 17-year-old. You just turned 18 this year. Gonna be going over all those topics along with Alabama football. Does that sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Obviously, you were talking about how you felt like you had a strong freshman season. You did. Obviously, you got a few honors your way. You're entering your second year. And you talked about some of the things that you're working on. So what are the things that you've been working on in the offseason to try to better your game and get to the next level?
Well, the main thing, for me, last year I got here around pretty much around like a year ago today. So I missed the spring. I wasn't able to participate in the spring just because I reclassified. So when I got here in the summertime, the team was like pretty much like I just had to find my niche and just be a part of the team and put my all into it. But this year I had the opportunity to go through the spring, and I've been here a whole year. So it's been more of that leadership role. And like I told you, I like to impact as many people as possible. Well, that starts from my family. So I mean, if I can't affect my little brother, then how am I going to affect somebody across the country? So it's the same thing here every day in the workplace. So it started out with the receivers, but now I feel like I can connect with anyone on the team, and just being able to because we have the B-Sci-Fi Brotherhood, the Bama fraternity. That's my boys. So just being able to impact every single one of them and knowing what makes them click. I feel like this year we have a bond that's crazier than anywhere else in the country. So I think that's one of the biggest things. And just me developing as a player. Last year I was on the lighter side just because I was a year younger than what I was supposed to be. Like I'm supposed to be coming in right now. So I was a little lighter. So I'm starting to fill out a little more. On the strength side, and just pretty much being more definitive in routes. Just pretty. Overall being a better football player. So, that's pretty much.
Yeah, like you were saying, you arrived here last year around this time of the year. So explain to me, this may be a dumb question, you just don't hear about this too often, reclassification. So what is that process exactly? Because you're supposed to graduate this year as an 18-year-old.
Yes. So I always knew that I at least wanted to leave high school half a semester early, just because, I always like a challenge. I always like to go attack the next thing. So that's pretty much just what it's been my whole life, whether I was playing up with a upper age group, anything. So whenever I got to high school, because I went to the same school, Saraland City Schools, I went to the same school, elementary, middle school, and high school. So going into high school, like I said, I knew I wanted to at least leave a semester early. So I pretty much was on track to do that. And after my sophomore year, because my freshman year, we lost in the third round of the playoffs. And so I was like, next year we're going to win state. And the year after that, I'm going to win state again, and I'm going to leave. That was I had that set after my freshman year. So my sophomore year comes, I scored 42 touchdowns, Mr. Football for the state of Alabama, Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Alabama. And I was like, we're going to run it back one more time, and then I'm gonna go to college. And I had this set. I told my teachers, I was like, whatever I got to do, whether it's summer, but I just ended up stacking because my junior year, which was my last year, my senior year, I just ended up, I didn't have any electives, like no music, no Spanish, no gym, straight core classes. I'm talking about I was going from math to science to English to history, to math to science to English to history, and I just doubled it. So I just that's how I ended up finishing up school early, and it just goes to show you all the support I've had, just through this journey. Because I mean, my school could have easily not wanted me to leave and just be like, nope, we can't help you. But they allowed me to accept the challenge because it definitely wasn't easy. And they pushed me, and I'm super thankful for my hometown, super thankful for Saraland, and now I'm here.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a unique and interesting story. You had an amazing freshman year, like we said, 8 touchdowns, almost 900 receiving yards. A lot of guys coming out of high school, they have difficulty adjusting to the college game. You didn't seem to have too much of an issue doing that, but what was maybe the biggest adjustment for you to the college game coming out of high school at 17 years old?
I would just say, the biggest challenge going into like this past season, and just throughout the entire season, was just pretty much understanding my body. Because through fall camp, because I got here in the summertime, and that was like pretty much up until that point, like my peak body. So up until that point, so whenever I got here, I was moving fast, just excited to be here, because I wasn't able to participate in the spring. So still had the young legs, and I should have listened. I should have listened. So just going throughout the season, you're gonna get banged up. That's a part of football. So but it's about how you respond and how your body responds, and just making sure that you did the little things in June so that your body is still working like how it was in June in November. So just that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned so far. And now it's gonna be super exciting, just because I've had that year of experience, had that year of big games, I know what to expect. So going into this season, super excited.
Yeah, I'm sure you'll definitely be better prepared entering your second year now with a year under your belt. Want to ask you, I actually saw this story. I guess you were working out with DeVonta Smith, Alabama great DeVonta Smith recently. Obviously, just won a Super Bowl recently with the Eagles. Thoughts on that? And what were you learning from him, DeVonta?
DeVonta he's a different type of human. He's a true gladiator, I would say. Like he's his own, he's in his own category, just because the way he operates in day-to-day life, like a lot of people wouldn't understand or believe that's like someone even operates like that. From us working out at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he, like, instead of running after we get done working out, because your body's already hot, he relaxes, right, and turns his body back on when the sun's at its peak. So we go run on the track or go get work in on the field 12 o'clock in the, like, when 11:30 in the morning, when the sun's right above your head, just because he likes to attack adversity. And that's pretty much a lot of what I learned in that amount of time, to just attack adversity, because everything, like, adversity is always going to strike. So it's about how you respond to it. And we punching adversity straight in the mouth. So learning that from him, that's my biggest takeaway from working out with him. A lot of the other stuff, of course, he made me a better receiver in those days. But I like to read the subliminal messages through all of it. So that's my biggest takeaway from it.
Was that your first intense workout with DeVonta, or had you worked out with him before?
That was the first time with him. Yeah, first time.
And I know it's early in your career, and you respect the hell out of him, obviously, but your goal is to be the best Alabama wide receiver ever, right?
1,000%. We talk about it all the time. I'm gonna break all the records, all that, So yeah.
Gotcha, man. I want to actually tackle upon this topic, because you brought up Nick Saban. Nick Saban was the guy who recruited you. You committed while Saban was still there. Obviously, you didn't get to play under him, but talk about that relationship that you built with Saban and why you chose Alabama over the other programs that you had choices with.
Well, like I said, I committed my freshman year. So I came up here for a camp, and they were like, all you got to do is run the 40, and you'll get the offer. I was like, for real? Like, that's it? So I get out of the car, and I go run the 40. And that was it. I got the offer. And they asked me, they was like, hey, do you still want to do the camp? I just drove 3.5 hours to come do this camp. Yes, I want to do this camp. So I do the camp, and I'm going through the camp, and just when you're 14 years old and you've never seen Nick Saban before, it's a moment that there's nothing comparable. So I'm just getting work, and I see him in the middle of the field, and I had a one-on-one rep, and it was my last rep of the day, and he was in the middle of the field, and it was like their guy that they wanted to offer at the time. I can't even tell you who it was anymore, but and I won the rep, took the ball off the top of his head on a go ball, and I just remember him like looking at me, and like he took his hat off, and he looked at me, and I smiled, and then I met him in his office, and from that moment he talked to me because he didn't know, of course he didn't know much about me because I was a freshman, so he told me he seen my rep, and he was like, one thing I'm not gonna do is I'm not gonna lie to you, so I was like, okay. And he was like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. He was like, that was a great catch. But, I was like, oh man. But, and this is literally what made me commit. He was like, but that release off the line wasn't very good. And that's exactly what I needed. That's exactly because, just going through the recruiting process, everybody's gonna tell you how good you are. How much you will mean to the team if you commit, you come, but I didn't need that. That's not what I wanted. I want to be coached, and we actually just got a message in our team meeting earlier, coach me, coach, and that's always something that I wanted. I love a challenge. I love, like I told you, I love attacking the next thing. I love conquering. I love I love the process. I don't I'm not about the victory itself. I love, doing all the things to get to that victory. And that's where I feel the most satisfied and the most excited, when I know I've worked very hard to get to where I am, and very hard to conquer whatever I'm gonna do next. And that's pretty much what made me commit to him. I was like, yeah, I'm not going nowhere, because he told me straight up, and that's exactly what I needed as a head coach, and as a coach in general, and I'm super thankful for him.
Yeah, obviously it's safe to say that you like Coach Saban's coaching style. That's what got you to Alabama, probably the reason at least. Obviously you're playing under Kalen DeBoer right now. You played one season under him. Thoughts on playing for him, and what makes him stand out as a coach?
What makes Coach DeBoer stand out as a coach? They have two completely different coaching styles. Because Coach Saban, I knew he was gonna, dissect the little things, because he's a DB guy anyway. Coach DeBoer is a receiver guy, so he's gonna dissect everything that I do just because he played receiver. So it's two completely different dynamics. So he's gonna make sure I'm tucking the ball in, I'm looking it all the way in. So he's gonna coach me hard too, but he does it a different way. He wants me to challenge myself. He allows me to be my own biggest critic. So that's why I'm super thankful for him, just because he's allowed me to not only grow as an individual, but help others grow. Because we have a super player-led team, and I mean those are the best teams. So it was super awesome last year, and I can't wait for this year.
Nice, man. Yeah, before I tackle your season objectives for this upcoming season, obviously high expectations, I want to ask you real quick about your former quarterback, Jalen Milroe, obviously in the NFL now, Seahawks. Thoughts on Jalen Milroe, what you learned from him, what makes him stand out so much during your one season playing with him?
During the season, we played together last season. When I first came in, he was one of the first people to, take me under his wing, him and Jeremy Bernard. But I came in, and I just remember us meeting pretty much every single day, diving in the film room, and that's just the type of guy he is. Every single day he has a very strict routine. He doesn't like getting off his routine, just because that's what makes him who he is. So and he showed me a lot as far as that, just because that's kind of what helps me make my life simple, just because there's always going to be little things that get added, but as long as you stay stirring on the things, your day-to-day things that you have to accomplish, it makes life super easy to say the least. So he taught me pretty much how to be a pro, because at the next level you have to have some type of schedule, or you'll get lost, or you'll put your time into places it doesn't need to be. So I'm super thankful for that. And, just the relationship that me and him have after this past season, man, I could call him right now and we'll just laugh for literally 30 minutes straight just because, like, he a goofball for real. Y'all don't know. But, yeah, he's a super funny guy, and we have a bunch of memories, and I'm super thankful for him.
Have you spoken to him since he was drafted?
Yeah, we talked we talked about it because 4+2 = 6. I was like, dang, so now you actually 6 because during the season after I scored my first touchdown, well, my first 2 touchdowns in the first game, I said the motto because me and him was talking about it like all summer long. I said the motto because he was number 4, I was number 2, so 4+2 = 6, like a touchdown. So yeah, we laughed about him being number 6 now, and I was like, why you didn't get number 4? And he said, who? And that was another. That's a different story for another time. But yeah, so it's just been awesome to see him thrive out there, and see the confidence that I know he has, and watch him ball out.
Well said, Ryan. I want to tackle one last topic before we wrap things up. I told you we were going to tackle your objectives for this season. There's high expectations. People are talking about you being a Heisman Trophy candidate. So I want to ask you thoughts on that, and what are your objectives from an individual and a team standpoint this upcoming season?
Well, first off, I like to say, I always put the team first just because, I wouldn't be here without them. So definitely, we got to go get that ring just because, I've watched my guys work so hard just from winter to now. And, I know they're going to continue to do that just because that's the culture, that's the standard around here. So, and like I told you, the brotherhood that's been formed over this past year since I've been here, I've never seen anything like it. And I've played with guys that I grew up with since I was 4 years old. So, I still haven't seen anything like this. So, definitely got to get a national championship for my guys. And whatever I got to do that, I'll go out there and be the punter if I got to. I'm telling you, if I got to go to left tackle, I'll make it happen. So, that's pretty much my biggest individual goal, doing everything that I can to make our overall goal successful, just because I know they will put everything on the line for me. So all I can do as a leader is do the same for them, and lead by example and give them everything I got every single day, because every day not gonna be easy. You're gonna have days we're gonna roll in here and you tired, it's something sore, you're a little banged up. But just when you have that guy, the leadership role, and it never seems like, nothing's ever wrong with him, it makes you feel like, okay, let me shake it, let me lock in, because he's good, so I gotta be good. So just building that type of culture throughout this season. And I feel like I myself and a couple others would be the reason that happened. So, and anything else that comes with that, the externals like the Heisman, that would be an honor and a blessing, just because I walk by our Heisman Trophy winners every single day. So and we never had one from Alabama at the University of Alabama, so that's crazy to me. So, and I'm from Alabama, so that would be awesome to be able to represent my state and my school. So that would be something. The Belinda called best receiver, All-American, just anything that I can conquer along the way of winning that national championship. That's what I want to do.
Well said, Ryan. Well, the sky's the limit for you, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how your sophomore season transpires. Wish you the best of luck moving forward. I really enjoyed this interview. We definitely got to do this sometime again down the road, maybe right around the season starts. I know you guys have a big regular season opener, I think against FSU. So yeah, man, I wish you the best of luck, dude. Thank you for taking out the time to speak to me today.
Thank you. I appreciate you, DJ.
Thank you, Ryan. You have a good one, man.